Hey, it's voiceover Charlotte. I didn't know how to start this video, so this is it. This project idea came from a YouTube video that kept popping up by Drawing with Waffles, in which they use every single green material that they own to make an illustration. I decided to give it a go, and my followers on Instagram suggested that I did yellow. So, I had a good rummage, and here's all the yellows that I could find. First of all, I have these Faber-Castell brush pens, these acrylic paints, 3 different shades of Posca pen, FW acrylic ink, other paint pens, these felt tip pens, these pencils, fine liners, a Copic chow marker, this Pentel touch pen, these old W.H. Smith pencils, a watercolour pencil, a Muji pen, and some Winsor & Newton watercolours. I started by just having a play around to see which materials would mix well together, as well as working out which were going to have enough contrast beside each other to actually be visible. And then started working on a few different ideas for what the piece could actually be. To create the final layout, I started tracing over some of my favourite elements from my sketchbook. Right, time to crack on. I tested the materials on a few different types of paper, and this pastel paper seemed to handle them the best. I started the drawing with the Sunshine Yellow Posca pen and began filling in some of the smaller details. And then I got the System 3 acrylic paint in yellow ochre. I know it looks brown, but it's called yellow, so I've just pretended it counts, okay? I needed a darker tone, otherwise this would have been an absolute disaster. Then I started filling in the second girl's trousers with a straw yellow Posca pen, and used this yellow ochre pencil to add some stripes. By this point I'd also filled in part of the picnic blanket with acrylic paint and started adding some details with the felt tips and Muji pen. I wanted to add some texture to a jumper, so went back in with the colour pencils and the acrylic ink. Then I added some colour to the foreground with the darker of the 2 watercolours. This Pentel touch pen was amazing for adding some soft shading and some subtle distinction between 2 colours that were quite similar. After the watercolour was dry, I went over it with some pencils and pens for texture. I'd already painted the one tree with that yellow ochre and decided to use a big brush pen for this one. Then went back to the first one to add some bright yellow because I realised it was looking way too dark now in comparison. Okay, it's time for some midway thoughts and evaluation. So I'm happy with how it's looking so far. Really like the texture in the foreground. I will add some more of the same kind of texture in the background. Happy with how the girls are turning out. Just need to crack on with this bit now and work out how I'm going to finish it. So back to it. Having added some more colour to the background, I then realised this tree was starting to look like the main feature now, and actually I preferred the first tree. So I added some of my trusty yellow ochre to mesh it with the other trees a little more nicely. I used the Molotow marker to add some more texture to the back of the hill before going back to the picnic blanket to add more detail. I wasn't happy with the rainbow in the background, so I decided to cover it up. I decided to add in a bandstand instead to give the girls something to dance to. I started to paint it in with watercolours. However, classic rookie mistake, I didn't actually look up what a bandstand looks like. Sort of just winged it. Winged it? Wung it? Winged it, I think. Anyway, after I wung it, I quickly painted over it again and used my new sketch of an actual bandstand as a guide to fill the space. I added some more details and texture in the background just to finish it off. And here it is, the final piece. In the end I was restricted a little when it came to finishing the background. My paper had become so layered with materials it wouldn't let me add any more without picking up or scratching through the paint underneath. So I thought that was a pretty good sign to call it a day. Other than that though, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I think yellow is possibly the hardest one I could have started with, so thanks for that guys. But it's been interesting and it's been nice to try the materials that maybe I don't use so often. Anyway, drop me a comment and let me know what you think, and if I ever dare to do this again, what colour do you think I should try next? Thanks for watching!